Hey, welcome to the next tutorial series for Ark mapping. This tutorial is just in general and can work for both mapping and modding. This tutorial is just on the layout of the dev kit. So first thing I'll show how to do is if you hold right click and then press W, you go forward, S, you go backwards, A, you go left, D, you go right, and if you're holding right click and you scroll up, you go faster. If you scroll down, you go slower. As you can see in the corner there, it's changing. If you press Q, it goes to select mode. W goes to move mode, so see that? And then E for rotate, and then R for scale. This you can change to change the rotation increments, so by how many degrees you rotate. This is how many grids you snap by for movement, and this is the scale snap. And then you can see here there's layout of some stuff. This is my current layout. So what you want to do to get some of these is go to content browser. I have content browser 1 put right there. So you're going to want to click on that and get content browser put there. Details, you're going to want to make sure you have details put down here, I guess. And then outliner, you want to put that there, I guess. Then viewports, pretty much just use one for the most part. Then the data layers, outliner, and the world partition editor. World partition editor is right here, but it's not on this map. And then date layers is right here, but it's not on this map. And then if I go back here, you'll see that there's also the place actors and world settings. So the place actors I have right there, but you'll see here that world setting is there, but you can't move stuff over here if you try. You'll just go like that. So what you do is right click and press dock to sidebar, though I'm not going to click it right now because if I click it, it's going to be stuck there and I don't know how to get it to not be stuck there. So be wary when you put stuff here. You can also pin the stuff here so then you can go out like this instead of having it like this where it's not pinned, then you're like that. And once all is said and done, you can load a layout or save your layout. So I saved mine as this, so then I can just load this layout whenever. If I press G, it goes to game preview mode. It doesn't look exactly how it will in game, but it's preview mode. Right here, there's the different view modes. There's lit, there's unlit, there's wireframe, there's lit wireframe, which I don't recommend using that often because I'd never use it. I actually don't use any of these except unlit and lit. And then there's lighting only, detail lighting, reflections, player collisions, visibility collisions, and a whole bunch more that I'm not going to bother going through. This is nanite visualization if you use nanite, and then lumen. But, well, you're obviously going to use nanite in this, but yeah. And then there's the show. I have it set to this for show, where it shows the this stuff. You can choose what you show. So right now I have fog disabled, but clouds enabled whenever I'm in editor mode. When I click G to go to game preview, I have fog enabled and the clouds, so I can see them, except there's none on this map. Then the perspective, there's top down right here, which goes to a top down mode. You can scroll with your scroll wheel, zoom in and out. Then there's bottom. I never use this. There's left. Sometimes I use this. There's right. Sometimes I use that. Front. Sometimes I use it. Back. Sometimes I use it. But I'm always using perspective and top down. Then there's the viewport types where there's default viewport and cinematic viewport. I only ever use default viewport. And then right here there's real time. So if I check that, it disables real time, which does save performance, but makes it a little weird to do some stuff while working. And then there's the show FPS, which allows you to see your FPS somewhere right there. And then that's triggered when you have that too. And you can trigger the stats that are showing stuff too. And the field of view, you can change that. I leave mine at 90. And then there's all these. I just keep them like this pretty much. And then there's settings right here. Or if you go here, you can set the engine scalability. This makes it so your DevKit has different graphics set. I use Epic. I don't recommend doing that if you have a weaker PC. I recommend going low, medium if you have a low-end PC, and then high to Epic if you have a high-end PC. And this is also material quality. I just leave mine at high. I don't do any preview platform. And then there's real-time audio. This I'm pretty sure is just for if you're in the editor. I haven't used this yet. Now if you go over to File, you can see little things where there's these. There's the Save All. I recommend using Save All a lot. And then Edit, you can see Editor Preferences. This is where you can make edits to your DevKit. If you go over to Editor Preferences, you can switch the Asset Editor Open Location to Main Window. Usually it's in New Window or Default. I choose Main Window so it goes up beside the level right there. So I don't have to drag it over, but you can also drag it out afterwards. And then if you go over to Project Settings, you can edit this project a little bit. I don't do much in here, if not anything. And then plugins, you're not really going to use any. Then there's the build, which has many different things. The only thing I use in build right now would be build HLDs, which doesn't work in this level, but will in a map level. Then there's also this, which I haven't done yet. These two I haven't done. This I haven't done, this I haven't done, this I haven't done, that I haven't done. That I've done before that finds any errors in a map. Then I haven't done these. I haven't done that, haven't done that, haven't done any of these. Though build grass maps only, that doesn't really work anymore. So I don't use that either. So the only one in build, I use build HLDs. Then there's select, which has select all, which you can do by doing Control A. And then there's also unselect all, which is escape. So if I do this and that, it does that. Invert selection is there too, which I haven't used. Then actor, there's nothing selected right now, so it doesn't really work. Unless I click this and some right here, which is basically just right clicking on it, see? So I don't use that. I use the right click. Then there's UGC, which will be in the next tutorial, where I showcase these. And then there's the help section where you can go for the Unreal documentation right there. Or you can go to some other stuff where these, and then if I press, I think F1, that just opens that. Maybe F2, no, F3, F4, no. I don't remember the exact keybind, but there's a thing that takes you to DevKit documentation. I think, oh no, it's over here. This one. It opens this web page where you can then get some documentation on the DevKit and see the versions, where the recent one is this one. And then there's some other things like these. I don't recommend using a lot of these, but some you can use. I recommend the getting started, but not for making new maps. It's useless, this one. This tutorial series is going to be a lot better than that. And it shows all this stuff. Then over here, there's resources and links. There's the Ark Discord, Ark Modding Announcements Discord. Then forums. report a bug, and wildcard workshop, and then community. This is the Ark modding community Discord server. I'm in here, and so many others are, and it's very helpful, though you need to approve yourself to get in by verifying your Steam ownership of Ark Survival Ascended or Evolved. And then over here in the content browser, you can see that there's all these contents, which you can click on stuff like this, and then find different stuff in there. Another thing you can do is, like, if you want to see if something's in here, like Rock 01, if you search, you can do that, and then you see I have all these filters. You can get them from this. So I click on these, so I go out, click on these, so I then have filters so I can filter between them. Though sometimes you don't have a filter of your own. So if you search, you can click right to there, and then you can do save as custom filter, where then you have these. You have the create, which just creates it. If you do create and apply, it applies the filter onto after creating it. I'm not going to create one right now since I don't want to create the filter, though if you do that, you can remove the filter by doing remove that one filter. So right now, if I click on one of the filters, I think I have the static mesh down here. It brings up these rocks. So right here, you'll see I have all these things. If I do edit, which is just the same as double clicking on it, it will open up the rock mesh in a few seconds for me since I've already loaded the mesh before. Though for you it may take longer, which is normal since you need to compile shaders and all that. So once it's done loading, I will show the inside of the thing where you can see the, what's it called, the thing, right? You'll know once I'm doing it. The details panel inside. I don't recommend editing anything in here if it's not copied to your mod folder for your map, since you're just going to be editing a devkit file that won't copy over to the game. Another thing right here, you can do stuff like rename. I don't recommend renaming stuff that's not in your mod folder. Then there's modkit utilities. You can just right click on anything for some stuff in here, and then others you have to go through there. Or itself, I'll go into more explanation of it in future tutorials. There's the batch rename, so if I select multiple things, batch rename. If I search cliff, for example, and then search and then rename to big, it will do that. I can add a prefix of like cliff underscore, then it does that. And then underscore new, see, works like that. Auto increments, I can also add an increment where it can go like that. This, this, or this. I can change where it starts at. I can make it start at 1, step up like that, or 5, and have it work like that. Another thing I can do is have it in alphabetical. Yeah, and then you can also do remove old prefixes and suffixes. I'm not going to do any of these since I don't want to edit them like that. Now, one thing you would want to know for sure is the reference viewer. You right click on the thing, then you go reference viewer, Alt Shift R. You can also do when selecting on it, and then you'll have access to all the references of that one mesh. You can also see what's it references to, which is this material. So you can see it's connected to all these maps and foliage actors too. Then you can do filters like in the content browser, such as level over there, so you can then only see what maps it's in like that. And then if you right click, show in folder view, it will show you the folder that it's in. And then you do show and explore, it will take you to the files like that. And then there's the size map. I'm not going to click that because it's going to take forever to load, but it shows the size in the file for it. Now, one thing else that you can do, which you remember that one asset, if I go over to Common Ark for Steam, since I have program files, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Ark, if I go to Shooter Game and config, I think, no, not there, content, no, save, no, I don't remember exactly where it is, though I think it's not there, not there, somewhere here, there. Program files, 86, the C drive, which I have it, this PC, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Arc Survival Ascended, and then right there. So it has all these. Oh yeah, I clicked on Evolved, that's why. So we go to the Arc Survival Ascended. I'm pretty sure it's this one, this file, the manifest underscore UFS files underscore win64.txt, which it is right there. Ignore all these. This is the text document that it is. So if I do that, I can select all, but if I do Control F, I can look up certain things like rock 01. Then you can see right there, it shows which assets in here. So if I were to go and do this, we're saying like this, not that. I need to copy more to get that to work. Unless, yeah, right there. And there's that one mesh, so you can see that this mesh is in fact in the dev kit and in game. So it's very easy to see which assets in the dev kit are in the game through this one text file. And now, if I go past that, I'm pretty sure there's one last thing that I'm going to show, which is this. The selection mode, which you've already seen this whole time, landscape mode. So if you have a landscape, you can do create new, and usually I'll show more about the create landscape in another tutorial during the landscape tutorial. Then there's the foliage thing. I'll show that in another tutorial. Mesh paint I have not used. Modeling I have not used. Fracture I have not used. Brush editing I will show in another tutorial. I've used that one. And then animation have not used. Scriptable tools I have not used. Then there's the level sequence I have used, but I'll do that in another tutorial. Then this I'll do in another tutorial. These you don't really need to do since that's right there. And then do not click on the fab, that will crash the dev kit, so don't try doing that. There's that add thing, I don't use that. And there's the save all there. And then right here, there's save all, which I can do like this. And then there's CurseForge Knowledge Base button right there, which has some dev kit knowledge and stuff. CurseForge, and then right here is local cooking. And then here, I'll do in the next tutorial, which is the UGC, which is the second UGC settings thing. And then right here, I don't know what that is, so I'm not going to bother with that. And yeah, I mean, right here you can also do show how stuff snaps, or you can do surface snapping. And then there's this, which cycles between world and local space for movement, rotation, and scale. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the layout of the dev kit. Hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.